Welcome to the channel. This is our first video on the channel where we'll be discussing how to pack the combat pack for the webbing. In this video we will be using VS2-1350, which is the 1983 Handbook for the Soldat, which in section 3 explains how to put the webbing together and the pack contents. If you like our content, please make sure to follow us on our Facebook page and make sure to subscribe down below so that you can keep up to date with all of our information. So now we're going to take a closer look at the external of the combat pack. As you can see, the design is very square. It features on the top here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 external loops for attaching something like a greatcoat or whatever on the earlier versions. As we mostly focus on doing the mid-1980s, they'd gotten rid of the greatcoats by this point. On the back here, which would face you, you have 2 L straps, which have attachment points for going onto your webbing as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up. So this has got a simple buckle on the top here, which you just remove like so. The very first thing that you will come across in this small pack here is your wash roll. Now this contains all of your personal hygiene items. So in my one here we have a set of keys here for locking up the locker back in the barracks, a bar of soap, a comb, toothpaste, toothbrush and a safety razor. The next item, located on the right hand side of the small pack, is a sewing kit. In this sewing kit it will contain 2 needles, several spools of thread and several spare buttons. Next, in the right hand side, you have a weapons maintenance kit, a handkerchief, your Veldpet, which is your field cap, and a pair of socks. On the left hand side you have your PSU cutlery in a small bag. This contains a fork, a knife and a spoon, and these are stamped with the PSU logo on. The next item on this side are your mess tins. These come in 2 parts, a smaller part and a larger part. These are used for heating up rations or collecting food when you are getting it from a field kitchen. In the rear section you have a standard green towel, like so. You then have a set of gloves. I choose to carry the leather version here, which has the strap on the back for adjustment. And finally, the largest item, which is your rain cape. This is the same as the British Second World War version, with a few minor differences. So as you can see, the contents of the combat pack is quite tightly packed in. So some soldiers, what they would choose to do is they would choose to put the rain cape over the top or fold it and put it across the front. Some soldiers you usually see carrying their field cap in their pocket on their smock like this. This is so that they've got more space inside of the field pack. Some soldiers also elect to carry other items in their small pack as well as the contents that was prescribed in the handbook. So you also find some soldiers will be carrying a sandbag, which you saw in the beginning of the video across the top. This is so that you have a bag to pick up empty brass, or you have something to sit on, or if you're digging a fighting position, you have a sandbag on hand to be able to use. You also find soldiers would perhaps carry their Esbit stoves in their small pack as well, despite it not being in the handbook. You also find soldiers would carry their weapons cleaning kits in the bottom right of their field smock. So this is so they have it on hand. An additional item that you can get now, which you can use to supplement your sewing kit, is something called Beautifix, which is here. You can still find it in the Netherlands for relatively cheap. It's used for repairing buttons. Now that we've gone through the contents of the combat pack, we can talk about some of the features here. So this is almost identical to the British 37 pattern small pack. A lot of the influences on the entire webbing system is from the British 37 pattern webbing. to the point that you can actually use 37 pattern L straps for this. Now, the book that we're using for reference is from 1983, and it still shows the canvas small pack in use up until the mid to late 1980s. At some point later on in the 80s, we're not entirely sure exactly when, they did introduce a rubberized version which has almost all the same features except for the top is missing its loop on the top here, and the loops on the side are also removed, because on the earlier version you would have had your greatcoat or other items attached to the top. Because by this time, when they'd introduced the rubberized small pack, they had gotten rid of greatcoats entirely, it was felt that that was no longer required. The other distinguishing feature from this, aside from the material, is the fact that it has hard plastic reinforcements on the bottom corners, because this was one of the places where the wear and tear was most prevalent. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, to follow our other content, and also follow us on our Facebook page. And if you are at a reenactment event in the UK, please come over and say hello.